Now just propping it up like that has already taken all this junk off of this poor plant, which is great. This poor nasturtium was going, ah, I was getting squashed. This has got some nice fruit on it. I need to control this guy a little. It looks funny, it's just a leaf. Sometimes a leaf will look funny and you'll go, is that a leaf or is that something else? And it turned out to just be a leaf, which is fine. I don't need any other strange bugs in here or anything to mess up my life or the lives of my plants. Okay. I'm going to clamp this guy onto this pole. This guy is simply there by weight. He's going to need a day or two to kind of reorient himself. I'm going to take off some of the bottom stuff here that was sort of crushed a bit. And trim, trim, trim. Getting better air circulation in here. And semi-control of the situation. This was just wrinkled up. It's not really injured. And that should refill out and be happy with itself. Some of this is from the plant behind. It's hard to sort at this point. I've been opening this up just a little bit, and I'm going to pretty much leave this now. I'm going to make sure it gets watered well, and that's where I'll leave it. I was taking a look at all these pots that I have already put a little bit of water into to see how they're doing. If they don't have some water coming out into the bottom, I'm going to give them a new squirt just to make sure that they've got enough in there. It was warm today. Not as brutal as it can be sometimes because it was overcast some of the day. But they did not get watered today. I had planned to get in here this morning. And I was working on deadheading weeds in the yard. And then the weather has just been threatening us all day with lightning strikes and all that stuff. And I don't work out in the yard when we start to get lightning strikes. It's a great way to get yourself electrocuted. So I will kind of back off of that when that happens. Give this guy a little extra water. He does not have any reserve in his saucer, and he doesn't look dry, but especially since I moved him around and stuff, I want him to have a little extra. He's got fertilizer now, he's got some extra water. Let him feel better about himself, so to speak. Okay, how are the guys in the back looking? This guy has no water in his saucer, so we're going to give him a little extra top water. I'm not seeing any wilting, so they still have enough water for now, but it will get watered by the system tomorrow, and then I'll recheck again and see how we're doing. This Thai basil is looking awesome. Henry bought me some ingredients, so I'll be able to make something with that. Maybe I'll get around to that tomorrow. That sounds like a great plan. These two in the back here, for whatever reason, are really kind of dry. And I don't know why. They shouldn't be. I'll need to, I see the hoses going into them and everything. So they should be just as good as everybody else, but to be honest, they're not. So I'm going to give them extra water. What I need to do is come out sometimes when this is running or make it run and see what's going wrong. I'm going to give it a few days though where I'm just monitoring to give it time to kind of catch up with things and stabilize and all that happy stuff. Let's go through here again and see if there's anything else that needs to come off. I did notice there was some brown leaves down here. And especially in the greenhouse, I tend to keep things really clean. I don't want green, I don't want brown leaves, I don't want yellow leaves, because I view it as an opportunity for rot to occur. So when I see something that's looking like it needs some TLC, one of our neighbor's dogs is going crazy again. I do wonder about some of our neighbors sometimes. And then sometimes I don't. I try not to think about it too much, I think, sometimes. Okay, now, taking off some bits and pieces here. We have a weed growing in here. It looks like pigweed. It must have been one of the containers that was outside. You get some interesting seeds that blow in sometimes, and you're like, oh, where did that come from? It's one of the disadvantages of using pots that have been outside, is you sometimes get adventurous seeds that magically landed in your pot, courtesy of a bird or a rodent or something, and then they do weird things, like grow in your greenhouse. And you're like, how did I wind up with pigweed in my greenhouse? Getting some of this very tangled up stuff that was in the base of this plant cleared out. Would love to be able to work back here and get this straightened up more. And it's hard to get to. Let's see if I can get there if I move my stool. And squish in here a little. Because what I'd like to be able to do is really clean up without having to clean that up first. Those are in pretty good shape. This one's a bit messy still. And this one needs more strings. And most of these are not going to need to be this long because the plants are already up there. So they don't need that. Whee! Oh, we fly through the air with the greatest of ease. The daring young man in his red BVDs. Now what I need to do is get this around the pipe, the purlin, without getting around the pipe. Let's see if we can do this. Whee! Okay. There. I do not like standing on one leg. I do not like that, Sam, I am. Okay. I did it anyway. Like it or not. Okay, there we go. I should have brought two of these up instead of one. Because then I would have only had to do this once instead of twice or three times. Eek. I don't want the pipe involved in this, but I'm going to have to do that here because I can't get it between the pipe and the purlin. So that means I have a kind of a narrow area to work with. Ooh, that's been broken. Don't know why. Not clear to me how much of this is like stuff that just happens, because stuff happens sometimes, and how much of this is from somebody clumping around in here. But I will take off dead things. I will take off unhealthy things. I will thin it out a little bit. There we go. This is a granadero. That is a very aggressive plant. So what I need to do is string up some of this stuff here. Okay. Ugh. Okay, we're fine, we're fine. Okay. Now I want this whole bucket with me. Some of these are no good. I can see that already. There's dead ones in the bottom from previous usage. But there's good ones too. Hopefully there's enough good ones to let me get the job done here. All right. Okay. I'm going to cheat, as I often have to do with granaderos, and put more than one branch onto a string, simply because you can't have 3,000 branches with strings here. So, granadero is a very aggressive plant. It rather weed-like when it grows. Okay. I think what happened here is that these were water stressed at some point. I'm just looking at the fact that they lost blossoms and stuff. It was probably when they couldn't get a water delivery through here and they didn't get quite enough water. There were water delivery problems, as always. When we have monsoons, they can't get through with a water truck. And we don't have enough storage here yet to solve that problem. We're going to be looking at that, obviously, because we're always looking at that, and we're always trying to make it better. But until we manage to make it better, we're still going to have to deal with that. So, this is a damaged plant here. It has a kind of crinkled, broken off. There it is. It just came right off. Okay, this was... Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plant that. See if we can get it to take, as they say. I don't know if I should bother or not. I'm just annoyed that this came off because it has some really nice fruit on it, but it was broken. I mean, really badly broken at the bottom. So I just gotta give that up. Okay. Just another learning experience. Okay. Granadero is not particularly fragile, so this got clobbered somehow. This is all one plant. This is insane. I should know better. Granadero is just so aggressive. It's wonderful, but it can be problematic. In a garden, it sprawls like all over the place unless you manage to get it really tied up to something. And in a greenhouse, it's even more sprawly. And yeah, it can be problematic, but it produces so much fruit. It's really hard to say no to it. And I think I only had like 1 or 2 granaderos that survived to adulthood this year. So there was no way I was going to say no to it. And this is a separate plant. It's a different variety. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to clip these things in all different directions. I did that in past years, And it worked fine. You have to pay attention when you're straightening things out because you never know who belongs to what, but it's okay. It means that I can actually clip off branches after their fruit is done and kind of shrink the whole thing down. But meanwhile, I'm not losing all the fruit. And I'll be able to do a better job with this when I come around the backside. But at least for now, that's better under control. Okay, that's much better. Seriously much better. There's a couple of spots on the plants that I'm a little concerned about. I will watch them to see if they seem to recuperate or whether they need to be removed. It's hard to know what spots are sometimes. Get this cleaned up. Okay. Yay. Fertilizer. Pruning to right here. Tying up to right here. That's pretty good, actually.